The Philadelphia 76ers lose to the Detroit Pistons GLeague team, essentially. No Cade Cunningham, no Jalen, Duran. I'm torn about this one. I got a lot of things I want to say. I can't really decide if I'm mad or I don't care, but I want to hear from you. They had another third quarter collapse, kind of, but they also kind of had the best third quarter of the season. The same problem keeps popping up, and the same kind of problem that has cost them games this season so far cost them this game, I believe. And I'm going to talk about what I think that problem is. Again, I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to hear from you on the Discord. Link is pinned at the top of the chat. Let's go.
Sixers, why won't you just lose and put me out of my misery? Why do you got to keep doing this to me, bro? Nobody else should touch the ball right here. He shoots it from the logo. Oh, we're going overtime! Tyrese Maxey is a god amongst men!
Welcome to Sixers Postgame Live, presented to you by Bright Medical Technology of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Before I get into everything I want to say about this game, I got to tell you about Bright Medical Technology. The Sixers came up short tonight. They were winning in the third, lost it at the end of the third, and collapsed in the fourth. If you have been winning in the third quarter in the bedroom, but been collapsing before you get to the fourth, you need to call Bright Medical Technology because they have generic Viagra, Sildenafil, and Cialis Tadalafil, 30 tablets for $40 delivered to your door. This is the lowest cost in the area. All you need to do is call 215-725-MEDS. That's 215-725-6337. When you call, mention Run It Back Philly, and you'll get 10% off your first month's supply. Bright Medical is Pennsylvania's largest medical supply company with products and solutions for patients from all ages, infants to seniors. A family-owned business right here in the heart of Philadelphia, PA, and they are Sixers sickos. Bright Medical takes all calls in-house, no automated call system, speaks 9 languages. Sixers had a end of third quarter into the fourth quarter collapse. Don't let that happen to you in the bedroom. Call Bright Medical today or go to brightmedi.com. Thank you to Bright Medical for sponsoring the show. Let's get into it, man. I think my first take here is don't sleep on the Detroit Pistons, man. Don't ever sleep on the Detroit Pistons. This new era of Detroit Pistons basketball, bro, they're hard-nosed. They play hard. They fight. Isaiah Stewart tries to fight people the whole game, even Tyrese Maxey, who's the nicest player in the NBA. So, you know, Isaiah Stewart's one of those guys you hate until he's on your team. But that fiery energy is what he brings to the Detroit Pistons, and there's so many guys on that team now that play with that fiery energy. Paul Reed and everybody. And, yeah, they were playing without some of their guys. They were playing without Cade Cunningham, of course. Sixers are also playing without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Jared McCain. The list goes on. You know, so it's not, I mean, the overreactions are pretty wild that I'm seeing already. You know, it's not like the Sixers went out there with a full roster and lost to Dennis Jenkins and damn, I don't even remember some of these dudes' names. I'm going to have to read the roster again. But somebody before this game said this should be the Sixers' easiest win of the season. And I said, what? Don't sleep on Detroit, man. They play hard. This was the definition of a trap game. The 76ers had it in the bag, it looked like, in the third quarter. We were actually kind of celebrating what they did in the third quarter. And then it all went to shit, you know? And there was times where they struggled to generate offense again. But I just wanted to say, don't sleep on the Detroit Pistons. But realistically, let's look at who the Detroit Pistons beat us with, all right? Let's do that right off the rip. Javonte Green. Who is that? 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, was a +2. 5 of 12 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3. Dennis Jenkins was running the show. Who is that? 19 points and 8 assists for Dennis Jenkins. I'm not slandering these guys at all. I'm just saying I never heard of them before tonight. Great job by some of them, you know, and hopefully for them that you know, continues and they build an NBA career off of that. But I if you would have told me that tonight the Sixers were going to get cooked by Dennis Jenkins, I wouldn't have believed you. Now, if you told me the Sixers were going to get cooked by Karis LeVert, I would have believed you. Because Karis LeVert has been cooking the 76ers off the bench since he played for the Brooklyn Nets, what feels like 10 years ago. And he's just one of those guys, man. I think I compared him to J.R. Smith during the stream. And I don't know if that's a good comparison or not, but I just mean in the way of he just looks like a superstar sometimes, right? And then he looks really bad sometimes. It just always seems to be against the Sixers that Karis LeVert goes nuts and turns into an NBA superstar. And in the beginning of the fourth quarter, you know, when the Sixers, after they collapsed in the third, made the run to start the fourth, got it all the way back and took the lead, Karis LeVert scored 9 straight. 2 threes, 1 contested, and then a fadeaway contested 3 from the left wing with the shot clock buzzer going off. There was just such a Karis LeVert type of play, and you just knew it was going in. So Karis LeVert, you know, joined in cooking us. Duncan Robinson was terrible in this game. Couldn't defend anybody. He was the only Pistons player with a minus on the floor. For people that wonder why Duncan Robinson was benched with the Miami Heat in the playoffs, he can't defend. He's not good. The thing is, he's a good 3-point shooter, but like he had some wide open threes in this game that he didn't even make. So Duncan Robinson, you know, didn't do much for Detroit. Paul Reed, 10, 8, and 3 was a +6. Paul Reed had some huge buckets for the Pistons, man. A Euro step lefty finish for Paul Reed, bro. Paul Reed cooking us. We're out here searching for a backup center every single year. Paul Reed's over in Detroit having the time of his life right now. Isaiah Stewart, of course, 14 and 7, tried to fight Tyrese Maxey. This dude Chaz Lanier had a couple of big threes. I never heard of that guy before. William Moore Jr. was a +23 in 18 minutes. Never heard of that guy before. So that's the team that beat us tonight. Me personally, I'm not going to overreact to it because, again, the Sixers have $100 million sitting on the bench. They also didn't have Jared McCain tonight as it continues to ramp up from his knee surgery. He played in the G League last night. So DJ Eastwood is going to sit up here in front of you on Run It Back Philly and be the positive one. And not just, you know, the Sixers need their guys. But I'll tell you who they need more than they need Joel Embiid and Paul George in a second. But I want to say this also. You know, the Sixers lost this game. They should have won this game. Their roster was not full. But these games happen in the NBA. I want to say that. You know, I watch the chat every night that we're streaming. And when the Sixers win, they are championship contenders in the chat. Oh, just imagine when we get our guys back, this team is amazing. Daryl Morey's a genius. Maybe Nick Nurse wasn't so bad. And the second they lose a game like this, they are the worst team ever. Nick Nurse needs to be fired again. Not that he was fired before, but last year we were constantly saying Nick Nurse needs to be fired. The chat just goes crazy about how bad this loss is, and somebody said it's about who they're losing to. And I'm still not going to be super negative on that because if you watch the NBA every year and you watch a whole bunch of different games, these games happen. Every night in the NBA, some team who's playing without a lot of guys upsets another team. And upsets another team with stars on the floor. The Sixers didn't. They have Tyrese Maxey out there and rookie VJ Edgecombe. You know? So it's not even like we blew a game to a bad team with stars on the floor. Should we have won the game? Yes. But these games happen. It's an 82-game season. You're not going to go 82-0. I'm not tripping. And I know the 76ers are going to get back a player that they very, very, very much need, which is the biggest reason I'm not tripping. All right? Here's why I'm not tripping. Okay, team is overperforming this season. I agree with that. Good take. Good take. They are overperforming. For playing without Joel Embiid and Paul George, for playing without 2 max contract players, they are overachieving this season. Jordan Coughlin. On the money, my friend. They need a point guard. That is my second main take of this post-game live show. Seth says, y'all want to fire the coach every year. Yeah, I mean, Nick Nurse is not good. I'm not going to sit up here and act like Nick Nurse is good. Nick Nurse is not good. Nick Nurse hasn't been good. Nick Nurse is a Kawhi merchant. He won one championship with Kawhi Leonard averaging 40 points per game, upset the Sixers because Ben Simmons can't play point guard, and then, ran through the West because the Warriors' whole team got hurt. Ever since then, Nick Nurse has not done anything. Couldn't develop any young talent in Toronto. They got sick of what he was doing. They fired him. Nick, I'm not up here defending Nick Nurse. I don't think Nick Nurse is a good basketball coach. I don't. I think he has some good things about him. He's probably a good locker room guy. He's probably a good practice coach. He holds guys accountable and things like that. There's things that I like about him. But an in-game coach, right? Running sets, drawing up final plays, getting guys to play hard in certain situations. I just think he's too busy yelling at officials the entire game. It's what I've seen from Nick Nurse all of my years watching him. Spends the whole game yelling at officials, doesn't actually coach the game. That's how I feel about Nick Nurse. But anyway, I want to get into what I think actually happened to cost them the game and why I'm not too mad about it. What cost the 76ers the game, once again, was their lack of a backup point guard. You saw it again. As soon as Tyrese Maxey goes off the floor, they struggle to generate offense. Quentin Grimes this offseason demanded $25 million a year. All right, and he had some great games last year. And Quentin Grimes is good in certain roles. All right? But I know it's early in the season, but I think it's safe to say we all overrated Quentin Grimes a little bit. Okay? And Daryl Morey didn't want to give him $25 million a year. Nobody else in the NBA wanted to give him 25 or even 20. And I think you're kind of seeing why. And one of my good friends is a Knicks fan. And he told me, Quentin Grimes is good sometimes. And but when you watch him every night, you'll start to see why he is a bench player. Quentin Grimes is just a turnover machine, at least so far this season. I don't know what's going on. Every time he dribbles the basketball, he turns it over. And in this game, he had a turnover that may have ended the game, to be real about it. I don't know what the score was at the time, but it was the fourth quarter. We weren't down by too much. We might have been up at the time. And Quentin Grimes was on the left wing, deep in the corner, right? Maxey kicked it over to him, or maybe it was VJ. He didn't take the shot. He pump faked, so I figured he's going to kick it back out. Then he tries to force his way on the baseline with nowhere to go. And then he throws the ball over his head, falling out of bounds. Just lobs it up midcourt. Duncan Robinson interception. Turns into a 3 for the Detroit Pistons. Quentin Grimes has had some very bad turnovers this season, and they're always at really, really bad times. And he has moments where he looks like a combo guard who could play point guard because he has some plays where he facilitates. But ultimately, I think, if your second unit point guard is Quentin Grimes, you're not going anywhere. The 76ers have the same issue they've had for a long time, which is they have a lot of combo guards. They have a lot of good scorers. Do they have any real half-court creating facilitators? Do they have anybody that really sets up a play, runs on offense, and makes something happen in the half court? No. And so every time the game gets down to the nitty-gritty, third quarter, fourth quarter, teams start ramping up the defense. Sixers start passing the ball around the perimeter like a hot potato with no real identity, especially the second unit. Because even though I don't think Tyrese Maxey is a facilitating point guard or like a half-court kind of set kind of point guard, I think Tyrese Maxey is a great scorer, and he's a good enough playmaker to rack up a bunch of assists and be a good point guard when he's in this situation, But I still think Maxey's really, really good off ball, and Maxey would be better with a real point guard next to him. But the second unit, no point guard, not even a pseudo combo point guard like Tyrese Maxey, no point guard in the second unit, and it happens every game now. It happens every game now. And I'm not negative about it because the 76ers have Jared McCain. and I've been saying it since last year, and I'm going to continue to say it. Jared McCain is a point guard. Jared McCain might be the only point guard on this roster. I think ultimately, I know people don't like it for potential defensive issues. I think ultimately Jared McCain starting point guard is the way to go with this team and run Maxey off ball. But even if Jared McCain never starts at point guard, the 76ers desperately need him to come into the game off the bench and run the second unit. And that's why I'm not tripping too much, because when Jared McCain comes in and runs the second unit, this team isn't going to collapse so much in those situations like they did tonight. Now let's look at the third quarter, okay? Because we got to talk about the third quarter. We always got to talk about the third quarter, but let's look at the third quarter, okay? And then I'm going to get to your chats, members and super chats first, of course. And then I'm going to take a couple calls on the Discord. But I really want to look at the third quarter. Sixers lost the third quarter. Sixers won the third quarter, 36-25. They were down by 9 going into halftime. All right. They surged in the third quarter right off the rip. This is the first time this season I've seen the Sixers come out of halftime with energy and do something in the third quarter. So shout out to them for that. They built up a 12-point lead in the third quarter. And it looked like if they kept their foot on the gas, they were going to run away with the game because Detroit wasn't good enough. You know, it started to look like, look, Detroit had a nice run, but it's Dennis Jenkins and Wendell Moore Jr. at the end of the day. We're going to beat this team, right? We're up by 12. Somebody super chatted, wow, we finally had a good third quarter. There was still 1 minute and 30 seconds left. And I said, let's pump our brakes here. It is the Sixers. They actually found a way to collapse in the last 1 minute of the third quarter. After being up 12, Detroit got it all the way down to 2 points to end the third. So they won the third quarter by 11, but they actually collapsed in the third quarter by what? They were up by 12 and they ended up down, or they ended up only up 2. So they ended up collapsing for a 10-point swing at the end of the third. Pretty impressive to win the third, but still look terrible somehow, some way by the end of the third. That third quarter was just the end of the second. They sucked, and they came into the third hot, and then they collapsed at the end of the third. And then the fourth quarter was just disgusting. The 76ers went out there and scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, guys. 15! Now, when you look at a team and you look at the roster and you look at the coach and you look at injuries, it doesn't matter what the reason is for the struggles. When a team scores 15 entire coach, because what's going on here, you know? You saw the coach on the other side win a game with Dennis Jenkins at point guard. Dennis Jenkins. Sixers go out there and score 15 points in the fourth quarter to lose the game. Nick Nurse didn't know how to use Jared Butler. And the Detroit Pistons head coach just beat us with Dennis Jenkins. This is what having a point guard is, and running a half-court offense. It doesn't even, like, you can get it done sometimes with Dennis Jenkins. That's how valuable any point guard is. That's why the Sixers look like they have no offense in certain situations, because they don't run an offense. And to score 15 points in a whole fourth quarter exemplifies that, you know? When Maxey is not bailing out Nick Nurse by hitting tough ISO shots, that's what you get. You get 15 points in the fourth. And Maxey actually made a run in the fourth by himself. He was trying to keep us alive. I mean, Karis LeVert was unhinged for a solid 3-4 minutes. But Maxey was the only one keeping us afloat. It still wasn't like a structured offensive game plan. It was just, here's the ball, here's Tyrese Maxey. He's fast enough, quick enough, makes a move, gets to a tough floater, gets a tough finish. But that really is Tyrese Maxey bailing out Nick Nurse because there's no real offensive game plan at all. Which makes Nick Nurse a Tyrese Maxey merchant and a Joel Embiid merchant and a Kawhi Leonard merchant. You know, it reminds me so much of Doc Rivers with that Boston Celtics team with 4 Hall of Famers on it. And then you see him coach other teams, and you're like, this guy's terrible. He doesn't actually have a plan at all. No, he just had 4 Hall of Famers on his team. I don't want to come at Nick Nurse the whole post-game show, but I really think that's a big problem for the Sixers is they don't have a half-court point guard, especially the second unit, yet Jared McCain is coming back. But Nick Nurse never really has a plan. And the players just have to be good enough to overcome the fact that there's not really a plan. Those are all my takes, man, I think. Let me know what you think. We'll jump in the chat here. Members first, Super Chats first, and then we'll get over to the Discord. And then we will go over to Twitter, read some reports. I know Kelly Oubre hurt his knee. Before we get over there, this second half of the show is brought to you by DraftKings. Somebody was talking about Andre Drummond's 3-point over on betting apps. That would have been a good idea tonight. Andre Drummond hit 2 threes from the corner. He didn't shoot a bad one in crunch time this time. It was actually Dominic Barlow who shot a bad one in crunch time. But anyway, this is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're in Pennsylvania and you're new to DraftKings, here's the deal. Use my promo code. And when you sign up, deposit $5, place a $5 wager. And if that first wager wins, DraftKings will give you $300 in bonus bets and 3 months of NBA League Pass for free. I love NBA League Pass. I rewatch games on NBA League Pass. I'm on NBA League Pass every night. Sometimes I'm on NBA League Pass on my phone, at a bar, wherever it is. I love NBA League Pass. All you got to do is bet $5 using my code RUNITBACK on DraftKings Sportsbook. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets and 3 free months of NBA League Pass. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's hear what you have to say, man. What do you have to say? Lazy bum in the chat. Why play Embiid when he isn't 100%? Let him get to 100. Oh, God. Let him get to 100, man. Yo, I swear to God, it's going to be 2040. And you guys are going to be in the comments saying, why do you want to rush Joel Embiid back? Let him get healthy. It's going to be 2040. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be 2040. Joel Embiid's going to be on his 3rd extension. He's going to be 46 years old. He's going to have no legs. He's going to have no legs. Okay? And you guys are going to still be saying, just let him get healthy. Good thing we got 4 fouls, a half Bono to come in when Drum getting cooked on defense. I thought Adem Bono had a decent game, man. He had a couple of blocks when he first came in. He was fighting for some rebounds. He didn't have good position on rebounds, but he was jumping high and getting rebounds, you know. But yeah, he's bad at fouling. And the one in, what was it, the first quarter or the second quarter, where he just tried to double team somebody at halftime and fouled him early in the shot clock. And then the funniest thing about Adem Bono to me is that he then looks at the official and questions it. He doesn't even really understand basketball. Like, Adem Bono, who was it that drove to the rim and Adem Bono straight tackled him? I mean, just knocked him flat onto his back. And he asked the official how that's a foul. And he was talking to the official. The official was explaining it to him. Adem Bono doesn't really know how to play basketball. I love him. I think he's probably a nice guy. He's just young, inexperienced. He hasn't been playing the game for very long. He's incredibly athletic, but he has no idea what he's doing out there, you know? I mean, he tackles a guy and he's like, what? That's a foul? How's that a foul? You know, it's like when that one football player from your high school decides to show up at the park and run pickup with everybody, and he's just shouldering the hell out of people and like slapping people in the face, and he's like, how's that a foul? You ran into me. That's a Dembona. He's a football player out there, and he does not know how to play basketball. I think he will, he just doesn't know what he's doing. And he fouls a lot. What else you guys got, man? Embiid is going to be walking around like Kenny Smith. Yikes. Joel Embiid has missed 47% of his career games. This figure is based on him having played 4-4. Okay, he's missed 47. How do you get a point guard when you have $100 million doing nothing? You don't. You do not do that. The 76ers, this is fun. The young core we're building is fun. This is more exciting than it was last year, definitely. But let's call it what it is, guys. If the 76ers don't get Embiid and Paul George on the floor, they are screwed, So anybody that thought like, oh, look, we have these new young players. We don't need Joel Embiid and Paul George. Let's just move on. You can't move on. They're signed until 2029. They have to get them on the floor. The Paul George thing, they're rehabbing his left quadricep for strength issues. I don't know. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing with Paul George. But basically, it's a lot more fun so far this year because the Sixers play hard. They added VJ Edgecombe. They have a lot of, versatile forwards that really help out that they didn't have last year, and Dominic Barlow and Jabari Walker and Trendon Watford. It's a lot more fun to watch this year. But it's still the same issue. If healthy. You have to get Joel Embiid and Paul George healthy. And Jared McCain. You need Jared McCain actually more than both of them because you need a backup point guard. But if the Sixers don't get healthy, they're not going to win. We're still in the same place we were in last year. It's just not as terrible. The NBA is stupid. Not only do the Indiana Pacers exist for some reason, but they are the best the sport has. The Indiana Pacers are the best team in the NBA? Have you seen maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder? You think Suns would do Maluak in a first for Embiid? No. Why would they do that? Oh, yeah. Trade your brand new 7'1" center and a first? Trade your brand new 7'1" center and a first round pick for a guy who can't get on the floor in 2025, who is owed $60 million in 2026, $62 million in 2027, $65 million in 2028, and $69 million in 2029. Do you guys understand how insane the Joel Embiid contract actually is? Nobody's taking that. That just wouldn't make any sense at all. Wouldn't make any sense at all, man. Yo, we got Cisco215 on the Discord. Cisco215, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Hey.
What you up to?
Man, just dealing with this debacle of a atrocious cup game I just witnessed with you, brother.
It was pretty bad, man. I mean, it had some good parts, but the runs that they gave up were really bad. It was almost like they were really good and really bad all in the same game, but they were really bad at the wrong times. That's how I see it.
Literally, man. A whole debacle. And a team without Cunningham and Duran, and for us to have that same lineup and rotation and other guys that came off the injury report in the rotation and still get outplayed by backups is just like, wow.
Are you talking about Barlow or who?
The Bull Jennings, man. Him particularly, like, oh, you talking about the Sixers? Yeah, Barlow.
Oh, you were talking about Detroit. My bad. You were talking about Detroit.
We got that guy back from injury today.
Yeah, Barlow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking like we were gonna be more aggressive on the boards and just have more opportunities to get second chance buckets, but that wasn't the case, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else did it. Well, Barlow and Drummond both had, Barlow had 5 offensive rebounds. Drummond had 4 offensive rebounds. So Barlow did what we expected him to do, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. But he had 10 and 8, and 5 offensive rebounds. So Barlow seems like he came back and did exactly what he was doing before he went out.
Yeah, he
man.
sure did. He was cooking. I mean, he did his part. I mean, it's just the shooters. I guess the basket had a lid on it tonight, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm not tripping too much. They need Jared McKay, man. They need a backup point guard. The second unit with Quentin Grimes running the thing has not been good. And I made a comment about Grimes wasn't turning the ball over as much in this game, and then he immediately had 2 bad ones in a row. They need a point guard. That's for sure, man. What else you got, man?
Yeah, that Jennings guy, man. He was smugging us that whole fourth quarter, hitting clutch shots and getting guys open, finding them open. That was just boiling my blood. And it was kind of like, all right, who's gonna respond back? Who's gonna step up to him? And wasn't nobody able to do it. So I'm like, oh, we just gonna take this L like this. Wow.
Yeah, Dennis Jenkins and Javonte Green, man.
Literally. They made a name for themselves. Shout out to them. I mean, the Detroit Pistons head coach, he's cooking.
He is.
He's cooking.
He outcoached Nick Nurse by a mile tonight.
Yeah, and that was
He did.
Man.
He did, man.
Damn.
Yo, Cisco, thanks for calling the show, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Shout out Cisco215 on the Discord. Somebody else was in the Discord. I was about to take your call next, man. You disappeared. Come on back. NYC, I saw you, bro. I want to hear from you. I see you in the chat sometimes. I want to hear what you got to say, man. Where'd you go, man? Jump into Discord, man. Lawrence Talley, if the Pacers beat Detroit, they better fire Nurse. Well, I don't know if you're firing a coach based on what a team does the next night. DNYC5, man. What's going on, bro?
DJ, what's up?
What's up? How you doing? What you got? Yo, your mic is muted, man. I think you brought up your video and your mic is muted.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go. What's up?
I was saying I'm not too upset because it's only the 12th game of the season, but I had 2 questions for you.
What's up?
I think you already answered one about the third quarter. You said they don't have a true point guard, so that's the third quarter woes.
Yeah.
All right. Also, Nick Nurse, who would you replace him with?
Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, everybody. Anytime I talk about firing a coach, people ask me that, and it's not like I have a lineup of coaches that I haven't even thought about it, man. But
nobody in mind.
No, but I do know that who I don't want it to be. You know, people say another bunch of. I don't want it to be another old dinosaur stubborn coach. You know, and when people say Tom Thibodeau or Mike Budenholzer, I'm just like, no thanks. You know, I think I would want it to be somebody maybe with some experience, but somebody that's got something to prove. You know, right. I think we're done doing this coach won a championship, so he's going to take us to the promised land. Doc Rivers, Nick Nurse. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Both of them had Hall of Famers on their teams when they won, so.
Exactly. And that's part of the game. Yeah. You need great players to win the thing, but these guys get exposed when they don't have those great players out there, and it just nothing, they can't overcoach or overcompensate for it.
All right, last thing I'm going to say before I go, can everybody please stop trying to trade Embiid? Nobody's taking that contract.
Yeah, nobody's taking that contract, bro. Nobody. There's no...
Nobody.
No. And even if people are like, well, let's get him healthy and then trade him. Well, if you get him healthy, then you have a chance to
get
win.
Hurt again.
Yeah, but if you get him healthy, you're a championship content. When Joel Embiid's healthy, he's the best player in the NBA. So that doesn't make sense to me either. get him healthy and then trade him. That doesn't make sense either, because if you get him healthy, you're making a run deep into the playoffs again.
Exactly.
You can't trade him now. He can't even. I mean, he got back on the floor for like 3 games, and now his right knee hurts, man.
Yeah, I noticed that since the start of the season when he came back, he's been landing on that right leg, and like I knew it was gonna happen, that something was gonna happen with his right leg, but
we'll see, man. We'll see. Yo, thank you so much for the call, man.
Thank you, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. DNYC on the Discord call. Let's go over to Twitter, see what the reporters are saying, because Kelly Oubre got hurt. I want to see, I don't know, maybe what some other takes are from Sixers reporters. Lawrence Talley, trade for McConnell. It would be nice to have TJ McConnell backup point guard. You're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong at all. Za and Cameron C both say Taylor Jenkins to replace Nurse. I like Taylor Jenkins. He looks like Hopper from Stranger Things. Yeah, hire him. I see Nurse and Morey fired after this year. I think if the 76ers don't get it done, that is going to happen. I think, especially if they never really get Joel Embiid and Paul George healthy, because that's really going to look bad on Nick Nurse. This is really his last shot. And if you go 2 years of this 4-year Paul George contract and he's in and out playing 30 games or whatever, and you never really got Joel Embiid healthy, and you sign him to that insane extension until 2029, yeah, it's going to look bad on Daryl Morey. And I do think if the Sixers, fizzle out and either don't make the playoffs or lose in the first round, I do think Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey both get fired. But they could still turn it around. They could still get healthy. That's the thing. It's early in the season. They really could still get healthy and make a run. And that's just how this season's going to go. If healthy, they got a chance. If not, they don't have a chance, man. It's just how it is. Landry Shamet had 36 points tonight. Shout out to Landry Shamet, drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers. Good shooter. Can't defend anybody. It's hard to play him in certain lineups, but I guess he caught fire in this game and scored 36 points for the Knicks. I'm not sure why Sixers reporters are retweeting that, but what do we got? Is there a Kelly Oubre update on the Sixers blowing a chance to bank a win against a depleted team? You reporters aren't giving me anything. Keith Pompey gives me the newspaper version of the box score for no reason. Here's the box score, guys, for anybody that doesn't have a phone and a sports app. The volume stats all look good, but I was pretty disappointed by that Maxey game. Put back some in the end, but thought his decision-making was bad most of the night. I don't know. It's really hard for me to blame Tyrese Maxey. And you can say Tyrese Maxey had a bad night. That's fine. But Tyrese Maxey is not even on my list of players or people to blame for the 76ers losing to the Detroit Pistons GLeague team. Tyrese Maxey is averaging 32 points and 8 assists so far this season. He's leading the NBA in scoring. I'm not going to Tyrese Maxey. Maybe that's me being biased towards Maxey right now, but Paul Hudrick, this is a bad loss for the Sixers against a woefully shorthanded Pistons team. Their offense has been having way too many stagnant stretches recently. This is it. This is what I'm saying, bro. And it's going to continue to happen until they get a backup point guard, and that is Jared McCain. It's going to continue to happen. And it happens with Maxey on the floor because there's times where Maxey struggles to generate things because they don't run plays and they don't utilize the pick and roll enough, and it turns into ISO ball, and sometimes Maxey bails him out. But you're always going to have stagnant stretches offensively when you have a bunch of combo guards and no real half-court point guard, especially the second unit. Look at this comment. You're nuts. They lost to the number 1 team in the East. People on Twitter are insane, bro. Do you really think the number one team in the East was the team that the Sixers played tonight? No, it's Cade Cunningham, Jalen, Duran, Asaur, Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jade, and Ivy. They didn't lose to the number one team in the East. They lost to the Pistons GLeague team, man. They lost to Dennis Jenkins, man. Is there a Kelly Oubre update? Let's just see if we can find a Kelly Oubre update. Kelly Oubre. I know he hurt his knee. Kelly Oubre. La 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 la. When I say, why is Kelly Oubre? People are mad because they bet on Kelly Oubre. Listen. If gambling is a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you are placing bets on Kelly Oubre, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please. You guys said he hurt his knee, but I'm not seeing anything from Sixers reporters. I'm not seeing anything like... Oh, here we go. Kelly Oubre will not return tonight with a left knee hyperextension. You can see Oubre's left leg plant awkwardly, and he was in some pain right after. Let's see if we could see this without getting the C word on YouTube. Let's see if we can see this here, man. Turn off the sound. All right, where's Kelly Oubre on this play? Okay, there he is. Let's see his... Oh! Damn! For those listening on podcast platforms, Kelly Oubre, ow. He hyperextended his left knee really hard, sprinting full speed. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. I don't think there's an update though. Kelly Oubre just all we're getting is Kelly Oubre will not return. So no post game update on Kelly Oubre. He had knee rehab in 2020 and missed the rest of the season. But he's been relatively healthy since, except he got hit by a car last year. Yeah, Kelly Oubre with the hyperextended knee. I honestly feel like I didn't have a whole lot to say about this game, to be honest. Thought the Sixers should have won, but I thought it was a pretty bad game overall. Both teams were struggling to score in the first quarter. There was a ton of turnovers and looked like jailhouse ball, a lot of it. I still think the 76ers should have won the game, but they're going to need their guys out there to win games, man. They're going to need their guys out there to win games. That's all I got, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday night.